social media plays a massive role in politics because people will post something and present it as fact. Everything gets presented as a fact, and a lot of people don't care enough to do their own research. I fall victim to that a lot. Like where I don't even do my full research, and so it's like short form news is the easiest to consume, but I feel like it's the worst part of news. Yeah, you can't really grasp the full picture and details of events going on with short form like that, like a single post.
Sure. Yeah. Russia invaded Ukraine in 2022. It's been 2 years. The United States has spent billions of dollars in just monetary aid and weapons aid to Ukraine. How do you feel about the current situation of where we're at?
Um, I don't like the situation. I don't like the Ukraine war. I think with people's arguments of us sending money to Ukraine instead of the U.S. people, we're just we're being America, and it's because of a pact we made with NATO. Whenever a country in NATO gets invaded, we're gonna support them. Uh, so that's what we're doing in Ukraine.
You are aware Ukraine is not in NATO.
Yeah, it's not NATO. There's another pact that we signed with Ukraine in like the '70s. Not not well versed enough. But I mean, you can't let Putin do whatever he wants. You can't let him just take Ukraine back, make that more Russia. I mean, that's what Hitler did with Poland, walking into Poland, taking whatever he wanted. Because there's a certain point where it's like, okay, yeah, okay, we can let him have this, and then they're gonna be like, well, now I want this. And are you just gonna keep backtracking until he wants what you have?
Yeah, you talked about Hitler doing that. Are you aware of Neville Chamberlain?
Neville,
Yeah, Chamberlain in World War II.
enlighten me.
So, right before World War II in 1939, Neville Chamberlain, the PM of the UK, Hitler took over the Sudetenland in Czechoslovakia, and Chamberlain said, "Okay, you can have that, but no more." And then obviously we saw what happened.
Yeah. So
You think it's similar situation?
yeah, that's why I think if you were to give Putin, just let him have Ukraine and not even fight that, and not support. Like, I mean, yeah, you could say, oh, Ukraine, you can fight that on your own. They're never gonna win that. And just, I think Putin's a madman. I don't like a lot of what he does. But yeah, it's definitely, there's a lot of parallels to that. He just wants power. Just wants power.
Do you think Ukraine is winning this war?
Um, you know, for a lot of what I heard is like, they were pretty, they were beating Russia pretty bad at like, on their like front lines, stuff like that. I remember seeing like all these like abandoned Russian tanks, and like these soldiers who like they had no food or anything like that, just stuff like that. But I don't think there is a winner. I don't think there's a winner in war, for one, and I don't think there will be a winner in this war. I feel like it'll just probably just turn into a stall. It'll stall out, and then at least that's the best case scenario, probably.
So President Zelensky's position is that Ukraine should take back all of its previously held lands up to 2014. Do you think that's a realistic goal?
I think it's realistic but uh, it's just I don't think Putin will let that happen. Uh, like I feel this is like that whole topic, the Israel and Palestine topic. You know, it's like, well, hey, that land's mine. No, it's not. It's China and Taiwan. It's like uh, I don't get why people are so vehement about like just little pieces of land. I mean, I don't. Why can't we live in harmony? Uh,
So, with this whole conflict since 2022, the United States has given billions and billions of dollars to Ukraine. The U.S. taxpayer has paid a hefty price to keep Ukraine afloat. Do you think that's warranted?
uh, yes, because of that pact that we made with Ukraine. I really wish I could tell you what it was. Um, but yes, it to uphold our contractual agreement with Ukraine. I'm fine with that.
So, you talked about a stalemate. That's essentially happened. There's been very little line movement outside of the front lines for a good long while now, outside of a couple uh, rogue instances where either side took a little chunk. But we're basically in a lot of attributed to World War One type warfare, a lot of artillery fire, trenches. Um, it's very bloody. It's a meat grinder. The Ukrainians are bleeding men. The Russians are bleeding men. The issue arises when you look at the populations of the countries.
It's a battle of attrition.
It is. It is a battle of attrition. Russia has been sanctioned to death, but they've managed to stay afloat. They rely heavily on China and Iran now. Ukraine has all of its Western allies. They have all the money they want from the US. The issue comes when you look at manpower. Ukraine's male population is in a steep decline. Russia, they're also losing a ton of men. They have 146-ish million people. Ukraine has closer to 26 million people. When the Ukrainian population of fighting age men dwindles, what happens then?
So what happens when the Ukrainian men, like their supply of men dwindles? I don't have the answer to that because I don't think that will happen. I think I feel like there's a certain point where they're gonna stop that before that even happens. So yeah, they would have to concede the war probably, but
So no US boots on the ground.
I don't think I don't think that we should send U.S. soldiers to Ukraine because I mean that's not our fight to win. I get it's kind of our duty to defend and support, but it's not our duty right now to fight that war because we've got bigger things. We got bigger internal issues in our own country that I think we should focus on right now.
Gotcha. So say Poland got invaded, or Latvia, or any of these countries within NATO. Would that then be a situation where the United States gets involved with soldiers?
Yeah, probably because I mean, if you look at the Vietnam War, I mean that was the whole situation with that. Why we even sent troops? It's because we were part of NATO, which that whole dumpster fire of a war. So yeah, I'm sure the U.S. would probably want to send at least some troops. I don't know how, depending on the context of like, how the invasion happens or anything like that, I'm sure the public reception would change based off of that.
Can you
So, yeah.
explain your the Vietnam
Yeah.
analogy?
So, God. So Vietnam War. Nixon president?
Kennedy, Nixon.
Kennedy, Nixon. Yeah. So, it was. I'm trying to. I'm blanking, man. So with.
So at the height of the Cold War, right?
Yeah. We're at the height of the Cold War. Vietnam. Yeah, because I mean the troops that we sent over, it was or man, maybe it wasn't Vietnam. Maybe I'm thinking the Korean War. I'm thinking of Korean, maybe with NATO, with that being NATO.
NATO was involved in the Korean War.
Yeah, I'm thinking of the Korean War. Yeah.
Gotcha. It's all good, man. We're here. We're
Yeah.
talking through these
Yeah.
issues.
Yeah.
This is what we do. So moving forward, what should the U.S.'s stance be moving forward in regards to Ukraine? Should we continue to supply them with money and aid?
Yeah, I think we should until I mean, I think you should keep supporting them until you see that it's not, if that doesn't benefit them anymore, then I'd probably stop. But as long as it's helping them stay afloat and be able to have a fight against Russia, then it's worth it.
So you talked about this fight ending if it became not good for the Ukrainians as a whole. What do you think? Could you explain what that scenario would be?
I think it would mean that Russia would now own Ukraine probably.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I don't really know. I don't know what would happen. I feel like that's so extreme. It's such an extreme thing to talk about. But I assume that's probably what would happen. It's so hard to step in and put your soldiers on the ground for another country that's not yours against a country as big as Russia. It's a bit scary to think about.
That was some awesome insight. I'll just ask you one more question here. So, where do you get your news from?
Where do I get
and
my-
then, what role does social media play in the information you consume?
I probably get quite a bit of news from social media. There's an app called Ground News that's pretty good. They show you the factuality of each article, different articles, how many facts are in there, which way it's leaning, where's the bias at. So it's pretty nice. I think social media plays a massive role in politics because people will post something and present it as fact. Everything gets presented as a fact, and a lot of people don't care enough to do their own research. I mean, I fall victim to that a lot. Like, where I don't even do my full research, and so it's like short form news is the easiest to consume, but I feel like it's the worst part of news. Yeah, you can't really grasp the full picture and details of events going on with short form like that, like a single post.
Sure. Yeah.